And I guess we can start. Do you want me to keep sharing my screen, or do you want to share yours?
You asked if I wanted to share the screen. You're already sharing it, yeah?
I'm sharing mine. Can you see it?
Yeah.
I think okay. So if you want, I can keep sharing mine and work the slides.
Yes.
And okay, great.
Yeah, we'll do it that way. Sorry, I was confused when you asked that. I thought you didn't realize you were already sharing.
No, yeah, keep sharing.
Okay.
Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for joining, and to those who are watching this recording, for your interest in our Coffee Sustainability Fellowship. This is an info session where we are going to share a little bit about what we do at TCC and about our main program, which you would be highly involved with as a fellow, and also share about some of the fellows' responsibilities and expectations, and a little introduction to our team. So first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. I am Camila. I am TCC's Impact and Communications Lead. I've been working with TCC for around 3 years now. I started as a fellow. So in case you have any questions about the fellowship experience, I can also talk about that. I am involved, we are a small team, so I am mainly in charge of communications, but I am involved with our core program, the TCC Community-Led Development Incubator, which Nora will explain further. But yeah, we do a little bit of everything. I am based in Quito, Ecuador, and I am joining from here. So yeah, welcome everyone. And I'm going to pass it along to Nora, who is going to share more.
Hi, everyone. Well, thanks for all being here. I am the founder and director of the Chain Collaborative. You'll hear more about kind of our mission and what we do in our main programs, but just briefly, I will say that we've always been committed to community-led development in the coffee sector, and how we do that has changed and evolved over time, and I think become stronger. And of course, we'll talk more about our incubator program throughout this call. But we are 10 years old now. So we have a lot of experience under our belts, we can say, and so fellows, would be coming in to the Chain Collaborative and to the program with kind of all of that experience that we can offer. So I am based in Washington, D.C. And I think that's good enough sort of by way of introduction. But since we're a small group, we also would invite each of you to share who you are and where you're calling in from. And so I don't see anyone on video, but if you want to just quickly go off mute and share, that would be great. So anyone can start.
Hi, my name's Brittany. Sorry, I don't have my camera going right now. But I am a roaster based in Massachusetts.
I can go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Gabriela Matute. I am from Honduras, but I'm based in New York, and I work as a gender specialist for a nonprofit called TechnoServe. And I've recently been getting more involved with coffee programs and supporting women's participation in our coffee program. So I joined.
Great, welcome.
I go next. Hi everyone, my name is Elena Siqueira. I have been working in logistics, coffee logistics, specialty coffee logistics during the last 3 years. And during the last month, I have been more involved in sustainability regulatory.
Thank you. Sure, I think you're last.
Hello everyone. I'm Akdar from eastern part of Indonesia. I run a social enterprise working with smallholder farmers.
Great, welcome. Thank you. Okay, so I think maybe I can get into the mission and then turn it back to Camila to talk more about the fellowship. But as I mentioned, our mission and core focus has always been the promotion of community-led development in the coffee sector. So our mission is to co-create opportunities and strengthen capacities for community-led change in the coffee sector. And while we do this through our incubator program, which we will share more about, the reason behind this is that we believe that coffee communities, those in coffee communities, local leaders and community members are really those that make the best decisions about their own development. They're best suited to make decisions and design their own programs. And really sort of be at the helm of their own initiatives. And so we think this is not only kind of where the most sustainable change starts from, but as well kind of the most ethical change and really what we should be supporting throughout the coffee industry. So this of course allows us to build more equitable and sustainable communities, but also really ensures that the development is on communities' own terms, right? Nothing is sort of forced on them, and we've seen, of course, throughout history and of development programs, often when decisions are made, by others for coffee communities, the impacts that we see can be negative, but also just change doesn't necessarily occur, and development doesn't necessarily occur. So it's sort of in our estimation, sort of not the right way to truly see kind of a more equitable and sustainable world, and it's just not the right way. We should be sort of combating this, what is a very neo-colonial sector. So that is our main mission, and we, as I mentioned, do kind of primarily live that mission through our community-led development incubator. We're going to get into the specifics of the 3 phases, but essentially it is an 18-month program with 3 phases. And we accept local leaders of community-based organizations and coffee-growing regions to participate on behalf of their communities. But the idea is that they work alongside their community members to design and carry out, as well as measure the impact of a project that they have conceived of with their community members. And so participants carry these projects out within their communities. So we are, as the Chain Collaborative, an entirely remote team. We provide sort of just remote support for this process by providing funding, and as well as kind of reporting to donors and taking that burden off of the local leaders. And so this is, as we'll go through the 3 phases, as I mentioned, but we do this in kind of a 2-year cycles. So 1 year we accept groups from Latin America, and the next year we accept groups from East Africa. And so it kind of goes in cycles, where 1 year the participant group, the incubator group, is designing their project, and then they carry it out the next year. And then, of course, we accept another group. And so kind of one group is designing a project while another one is carrying it out. And so we sort of overlap in that way. So that's, again, our main core work. And we have foundation support, company support in order to carry out that work. We also have earned income programs, which allows us to not just rely on donations. And so for that, we have consulting projects that we manage, as well as education. So we offer courses in sustainability. We have the SCA, the Specialty Coffee Association, sustainability courses that we offer, and just launched another course in partnership with Coffee Knowledge Hub on sustainability reporting. So this we have received earned income through offering these courses, but then as well through consulting for like-minded organizations. And we do a number of things: supply chain research, program planning and development, development of monitoring and evaluation schemes, assessment of programs, so all sorts of things. And we have partnered with organizations like Fair Trade International, Root Capital, the Nature Conservancy, Conservation International, etc. So we provide just kind of services as needed for different projects throughout the sector. Coffee mostly, but also other agricultural value chains. And then we do have some ongoing partnerships and collaborations, sort of, projects that we've been involved with in the past that we've kind of maintained a relationship with kind of in the long term. So those are sort of quite specific in terms of how we partner. And so we don't necessarily need to get into it now, but you can learn more through our website or by asking us at any time. So we can move on. Okay, last time we tried to play this video, Camila, it didn't work. So maybe we can try it this time. We are going to get into more about the incubator now, which fellows are heavily involved with. So and ahead of that, we will share this video, which is about the incubator. So let's see if it works.
The Chain Collaborative was founded to invest in local leaders in coffee communities around the world. Our goal is to shift power in the development and agricultural sectors to ensure that local leaders are able to design and carry out the projects that they have envisioned for their own community alongside their community.
A community-led approach where the people are involved, they become even more sustainable because they feel the initiative truly belongs to them.
Community-led development moves away from a deficit lens toward an investment lens. Communities are recognized for what they have. They have the organization, the vision, and the capacity to design projects that impact their local community. The Incubator Program is a collaborative learning experience for local leaders in coffee-growing regions to design and lead transformative initiatives in their own communities. To start the program, the Chain Collaborative facilitates conversations and co-learning around strategic visioning, project planning, and monitoring and evaluation. On the ground, participants lead collaboration in their community and make collective decisions about the projects they wish to prioritize.
Es una forma muy diferente de trabajar porque quien toma las decisiones es la comunidad.
Es una situación de respeto, no nos ayudan, sino colaboramos.
The fact that we involve the community in deciding what they really feel is the best solution to the problems that are affecting them is the only way we can bring out sustainable development to our communities.
Next, local leader participants implement their projects within their respective communities. The projects chosen are diverse in focus and scope. Local leaders create holistic impact through projects that can be coffee-specific or focused on other priorities.
Lo que ustedes estén pensando que necesitan, podemos irlo madurando y estructurando en la incubadora.
Finally, local leaders report on their impact and join an alumni network. Past and present incubator participants can keep learning from each other and accessing opportunities. They continue to implement community projects, build trust, and improve livelihoods for years to come.
TCC is one organization that empowers other community organizations to best transform the communities they live in, and we are proud to be part of those communities.
Great, thanks, Camila. So I think it was, jumping a little bit, at least on my end, so it might be the same for the recording and for all of you, but we can also share the link again to that video. You can sort of watch it on your own if you'd like, if you haven't seen it already. Camila, do you want me to continue talking about the incubator, or do you want to take over now? Yeah, okay, I'll keep going. So great. So the video, of course, was all about the incubator and describing our approach. But as I mentioned, it's an 18-month program whereby we build relationships with the local leaders of community-based organizations in coffee-growing regions. And so we have three phases. In the first phase, we have essentially conversations about project design and monitoring and evaluation. And so as well as strategic planning and sort of community visioning. And ultimately, the goal of this first 6 months phase, which takes place every year, we start a new incubator in the beginning of the year, and we officially launch in April. And so the first 6 months between April and September, we're essentially meeting monthly with the cohort in group sessions and having conversations about essentially project design, as I mentioned, monitoring, evaluation, et cetera. And then we're also meeting one-on-one. And the goal of this phase really is for participants to be able to have the time to work with their community to develop the project of their choosing. And so we don't necessarily refer to this as training. It's more collaborative conversations between our team as well as amongst incubator participants, where they can really talk about the best way to kind of approach going about project prioritization and working with their community to come up with the kind of best design that's most suited for what they're looking for in the moment. And then after those 6 months, of course, they submit their project proposal. Each participant group has access to $15,000 to carry out the project. So they build a budget for a project up to $15,000. And then they're provided that funding in October of each year. And then they go into the 9-month implementation phase. So they essentially have 9 months to carry out the project. And during this time, we continue to meet as a cohort and discuss challenges and lessons learned and just progress, how things are going. And we also continue to meet one-on-one with participant groups just to troubleshoot and have an opportunity to talk about anything that arises. And occasionally there are some kind of interests that we see within the group. So maybe there's a couple of groups working on processing projects, and they are interested in learning more about a certain aspect of processing. So we might kind of see those opportunities and invite additional guests, to speak and have a conversation with our incubator participants. And so we occasionally also have other learning opportunities come up during the implementation phase. And then at the end of the program, it's a 3-month phase called peer support. This starts in July and goes through September of the second year of the program. And it's essentially sort of an offboarding phase, as well as time to report and finish up project implementation, apply the monitoring and evaluation framework that each group has developed. And then they are able to use this time as well to enter our alumni network, which is essentially the kind of network for all past incubator participants, where they can continue meeting and staying connected to one another. Through the alumni network, we offer webinars, free and discounted courses as possible, as well as access to continued small funding amounts, again, as possible and as we are able to fundraise for this. And so we see that participants sometimes will continue to apply for small amounts of funding to finish certain projects or boost small projects that they have within their community. And so but the alumni network is very alumni led, right? So in terms of the webinars that are offered and the courses that people are seeking out and the ways in which they connect as alumni through the network, it's all led by the alumni themselves. So it's a kind of a network that's really going to evolve over time. So as I described it, is sort of how it's functioning now. But of course, as alumni enter the program, they are free and encouraged, of course, to kind of evolve that over time to best suit them. And so we can go to the next phase or slide, and I will have Camila talk more about the fellowship, but we want to give you that overview of the incubator because the fellows really follow along the progress of the incubator and work one-on-one closely with each of the groups. And so it's important for you to have a sense of how the program functions, and it's really the core underlying message there, which is that this is really about communities leading the process of development and not TCC dictating that process. So great. This is a good time for you to jump in, Camila.
Yes, thank you so much for all the introduction. So yeah, now I'm going to talk a little bit about the fellowship opportunity. So this fellowship that previously was called the TCC program fellowship. We decided to change the name this year to something that would communicate better what it is about. So it's a 100% remote opportunity for people who want to get more involved with coffee, with sustainability, and especially with community-led development. Since Nora was sharing, that's our main focus. So yes, sustainability in general, but it's, I think, the only place where you would have the opportunity to really be involved with community-led development initiatives and processes and be part of it. Fellows commit to 8 to 10 hours per week to supporting our work. I will explain further what the main responsibilities of the fellows are, but the idea is 8 to 10, including the time it takes for people taking the SCA Coffee Sustainability Program. So in exchange for all the work and the support to the TCC team, you get to take all 3 levels of the SCA Coffee Sustainability Program at no cost. And it happens simultaneously. So you are working with TCC and you are studying your 3 levels. So the 8 to 10 hours, consider the time it will take you to excel at your coffee sustainability program. This is me and Carolina. We started as fellows, I think 3 years ago, and this it's funny that the photo is here because it's remote, but we ran into each other at an airport once and we took a photo when we were fellows. But yeah, it's not like we meet in person or that's our approach. So yeah, I'm going to go through the fellows' responsibilities. So mainly the idea is for fellows to support in incubator management. Not every year we have the same amount of fellows. It varies depending on how many applicants we have, how amazing those applicants are, all the work we see we are going to have for the following year. So for example, we've had years with, I think, 1 fellow, 2, 3, up to 4. So it really depends on the situation. We are thinking for next year we will have 3. So it also depends on how many groups we have in each year's incubator. This year we are working with the Latin American cohort, and we have 8 groups, and that's one of the reasons why this year we had more fellows than ever. So next year we will start with another East and Central African incubator cohort, and we are thinking we will have around 4 to 6 groups. So fellows mainly support the local leaders through the process of the incubator by managing the relationship. We usually are in touch via WhatsApp with them, so they are in charge of being in contact with them, scheduling monthly calls, reminding them of the group calls, and also in charge of being aware of what they want to do, where they want to go, and providing constant constructive feedback if they need. Like if they are not, I don't know, we've had different situations, but the participants usually need support with different tasks. With each month, we are going to talk about a specific topic in project planning, and then they have, we don't like to call it homework, but they have different tasks that they need to do to advance in their project planning. So fellows will be accompanying them in this process and reading what they do, reading their projects, and providing constructive feedback as needed. Another responsibility of the fellows is data collection. So we are, as Nora mentioned, we are able to do our work thanks to companies and foundations who support us with funds. So we are constantly needing to monitor and evaluate and gather all the information we need to be able to report on what the groups do. excuse me. The way this works is that we usually assign 1, 2, 3 groups or participants to each fellow, and they will be in charge of tracking the progress of each of the groups they have been assigned to. Also, they will support with reports, writing. Sometimes we have consulting tasks that require a lot of reading and summarizing and reporting. So that besides the incubator tasks, that can be like other assignments for fellows. Also research and analysis, sorry, I'm research and analysis for consulting assignments. So as Nora was mentioning, we work with different agricultural chains. So many times we have to read studies, to organize information, to organize data. Carolina, who is not able to join us today, is also working with consulting. So it's basically supporting her with that. And finally, some additional support that I need usually with communications. It's like writing posts for social media or gathering information, photos, media, etc., for us to be able to report and communicate our work. Some of the fellows' fellowship expectations, and these are expectations for all our team, which are basically like more like values and like the general mood that we try to have in TCC are these. So first, respect for and deference to local leader partners, respectful and honest communication, strong time management that allows for consistent communication and effective workflow. It's important this is very important because we know that many times fellows, this is an 8 to 10 hours a week commitment. So many times fellows have or another job, or they are studying, they have their own their own main thing, and this can be like a side thing, and we are aware of that. But we do encourage and expect a strong time management. So when you commit to something or you commit to a time or a certain task, you are able to carry it through, or otherwise communicate on time if there are going to be any trouble. Teamwork mentality, of course. We are a small team. Many times we have to grab tasks that maybe we're not expecting, or if, I don't know, someone gets sick or someone is like having a tough time, we are there to support them. We look for open-minded reception and delivery of constructive feedback. As I was saying, many times as fellows, you are going to be providing feedback for the participants. So you need to be mindful of all the information you are receiving, you are reading, you are analyzing, and that your feedback is thoughtful and constructive. Taking initiative to complete challenging tasks, such as researching independently when necessary, filling organizational gaps, and using unique talents for the benefit of TCC. If you have anything you're good at and that can contribute to our work, we are more than happy to hear about it. Like there's someone that's really good with making videos or really good with whatever, maybe it's things that we have not thought about. But if you can contribute with that, we would be very, very grateful. Then of course, completing the 8 to 10 hours of work each week, making up for missed hours. Our schedule is pretty flexible. We do have like a work schedule and working hours, but as I was saying, we understand if you have other responsibilities, and if you need to make up for your time during, I don't know, later than when we were online or during the weekends or whatever, you can organize your time as long as you are delivering. And then understanding that the 3 levels of the SCA Coffee Sustainability Program courses are conditional upon satisfactory fellowship performance. So it's not, it's both. So the idea is that you commit to work and then you can access all 3 levels. I don't know, maybe Nora can share more about like the dates and what the courses are more about, but the idea is to do both things at the same time. So basically, if you are failing as a fellow, you won't be able to access like the further levels. So they are connected. Lastly, we would like to introduce our team. So here is Nora and me. Carolina is not here, but she's our monitoring, evaluation, and research lead. As I was mentioning, she's very much involved with all consulting tasks, and she would be the one leading those assignments with fellows. The alumni network leaders are past incubator participants. Itzel is from Mexico. She was a participant in 2 years ago, in incubator, and Winnie is finishing the incubator this year and joining as another alumni network leader. These are the fellows that joined us in 2024. They are completing their fellowship in December this year. And lastly, we have key partners that are Elisa and Erica, with whom we work very closely. They are not part of the TCC team, but we work with them very closely. And as fellows, you are probably going to be in touch with them eventually. So yeah, that was what we wanted to share today. If you have any questions related to anything about TCC, the incubator, the fellowship responsibilities, etc., we would love to hear them.
Yeah, thanks, Camila. Maybe before we jump into your questions, just add that where we are in the incubator cycle. So this coming year, 2025, we will be onboarding the next East African, Eastern Central African cohort of the incubator. Which means we'll be doing recruiting for the incubator in the first 3 months of the year, and then starting in April, we will onboard the selected cohort. And so they will be kind of working through the learning and design phase for the majority of next year, and then going into implementation in October. Whereas the current Latin American cohort is now just finished up their learning and design phase for 2024, and they're right now going into implementation. So looking towards 2025, they will be continuing to implement their projects and then entering the peer support reporting phase and then the alumni network. So fellows would be able to connect with the current Latin American cohort as they complete their projects and conduct reporting, and then go into the alumni network. Whereas then they will be supporting a new cohort from East Central Africa to be entering the incubator. So that's currently kind of where we are with that process and the groups that you would engage with. So if you have any other questions about kind of other activities ongoing for next year that fellows would be involved in, this is really the time to ask, as well as kind of about the application process and what we're looking for and things like that. So yeah, happy to take any questions.
Yeah. Hello. I do have many questions. First, Camila, like how the work schedule looks like during the week, like how you organize between the meetings, given the different time zones. This is the first one, if you can.
Yeah, sure. So what we try to do is meet once a week with all the team and organize the tasks for the week. So we try to not just like throw assignments randomly, but try to organize the week. So depending on the group, we agree on a day and time that works for everyone. And we sort of go through what we have for the following week and see who is going to work on what. There are times when there are certain assignments that need some like urgency and that we need them before the week ends, we will let you know. We would say we need this for this Thursday or things like that. But we try to assign stuff for the whole week. And then we do, when we start the incubator, it's important to be available for the group meetings, for the individual calls with each of the participants. Let's say if you had 2 or 3 groups assigned, that you are available for the meetings with those groups. But besides the meetings, you can organize your own time with the tasks that are assigned to you.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think, you know, one of the requirements beyond the 8 to 10 hours, we do indicate that, you know, those being there for those meetings is really critical. So if you know, we will need you to be available, you know, some time during kind of typical working hours. So it's not a fellowship that you can just do on the weekends, for example. But yeah, beyond those calls where we do need to schedule them with our partners within their working hours and ours, then there is greater flexibility. But that's just kind of one thing that we do need is at least some flexibility for those calls during typical working hours.
Yeah, and also consider that the following year's fellowship would be with the East and Central African groups. So we need to consider that usually those calls would be in the morning on this side of the world, their afternoon. So it's a little bit more challenging as we are here, but we always arrange things. Like Carolina is based in Spain. We are in different time zones, so we try to make it work for everyone.
Yeah, that's why I did that question. But it's also good to know how you like are flexible and at the same time organized how in the way the communication is effective. Well, in case if Africa, I will think that it's not so possible, but with working with Latin American cohort was possible to also make on-site activities like being in contact with local leaders or so on. It's possible for fellows.
I mean, not as part of like the work with TCC, our model is a bit different. We like, as we are working with community-led development, we don't really think that our involvement with the community is very important or relevant. It's more guiding them through their own process. So it's like, we don't consider that there's much we can add by going there or by, because it would be our own perception, our own ideas of what they want or need or should be doing. And that's not necessarily what we are pursuing. It's more releasing control and like just guiding them through the project design process. Most of the times, the groups that are part of the incubator don't have previous experience with project design and project planning. So they are in need of those tools and that sort of guidance or collaboration, but they know exactly what their communities need and what they want to do. So we form relationships, and many times, since they are not like big cohorts, they are 4, 6, 8 groups, we are meeting every month. So we do form like strong relationships with them. And there have been cases where if the fellows become close to the group and they invite them, they can go and share time with them, but it's not required or it's not part of the process. I don't know if Nora, you want to add anything else?
I think that was great. Yeah.
Okay, well understood. Thank you both.
Great. Thanks for your questions. Any other questions?
What's the timeline for the application process for the fellows? When are we expected to begin?
Yeah, I can answer that we can go back and forth, Mila. So the application, and we'll share this with you after this call, as well as with the others that are interested. And the application is due in mid-October. I think it's November 15th or 18th, if I'm not mistaken. So you'll have about a month to complete the application. And then after that, we will set up interviews for between kind of when the application comes in and then the kind of mid-December before the end of the year. And so that'll be a first round interview. And then if fellows are chosen for a second interview, then we will do those interviews in the beginning of 2025, beginning of the calendar year. And then those selected will begin the fellowship starting February 1st. So it runs for 10 months, February to end of November. And so, and just to, because this question might be coming up or in your minds, the application is about 8 questions, and there's a kind of word limit on those questions, about 300 words each question. So we're not looking for like hugely long answers. And then 3 references as well. And then 1 letter of recommendation. So with the letter of recommendation, we're looking for you to actually reach out to someone that you know in some sort of professional capacity to write you a letter to share with us. So we ask for that alongside of a resume as well. And so those are the kind of answering the questions, the letter of recommendation, filling out the application and sending the resume. Those are that's the application process and what you need to prepare for November. And then again, there's the sort of 2 rounds of interviews, perhaps one, maybe 2, if you're chosen to move forward. And then you would begin and February 1st, but receive kind of all the materials that you need to prepare, prior to February 1st. So hopefully that answered your questions.
Thanks. Yeah. And
Great.
I have another question. So in your
Perfect.
experience, have you worked with other fellows, or how do I frame this? Are fellows usually full-time with you, or do you know if fellows are doing other activities, have other jobs? I know it's 8 to 10 hours a week, but to understand like what has been your experience.
I don't think
Yeah, go
it's,
ahead, Camila.
I don't think the fellowship has been anyone's main activity. We are, all of them have other jobs. We have found people who think they can make it with a full-time job, and then when they start, they realize they couldn't. If you have another job and it has the same flexibility, I would say is possible and doable. What we have is people who run their own business or that work remotely, but it's important to know that you have to be available for the groups, for the calls, for the team calls. So we wouldn't want someone who says, I can make it because I have a work thing. It's like if there are always going to be other work things that going to be interfering with the meetings, then it wouldn't be like the right opportunity for you. But if you think you can manage at the time and just like organize your meetings of your other work in some other time and you can make it work, it's like, yes. So basically I don't think there's anyone who is their like main activity.
Oh, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions? Now is when. Well, also, if you think of other questions later, you can always reach out to us.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember if there were any other questions from the other info session, but I think they were quite similar. So yeah, I don't know if there was nothing's coming to mind that was another question from that info session, but I think maybe just one final thought from me, just in terms of if you do choose to complete an application and apply for the program, I would say kind of one of the, besides sort of the logistical aspects, of course, we do take that into account, and we have unfortunately had to say no to certain fellows that we really would have liked to accept simply because their schedule probably wouldn't permit them to really commit to the fellowship as well. I would say the other thing we look for is really a commitment to community-led development. And we're not looking for people that are, have been in the coffee industry for 20 years and have all sorts of experience. We're looking for people, in fact, that are newer to the industry and looking for these types of opportunities, or have been in the industry for a while but haven't had the opportunity to kind of work on the nonprofit side. But while we're sort of very open to people from really all walks of life, even people that are not in coffee but have an interest in coffee, we really are primarily kind of keeping an eye out for that interest in learning about community-led development. And so it is a different approach to the way in which development is normally conducted, where projects are designed, by nonprofits typically, and then kind of offered to communities, and they can kind of choose to participate or not. This is really a different role that you'd be in, where really learning about how to, kind of relinquish that control, as Camila said, and let communities lead. And so it's not to say that you don't build relationships with local leaders from coffee communities around the world, but really doing so in a remote way where, you're kind of learning from them as much as you're learning from us as kind of the nonprofit leaders, so to speak, right? So, if that is sort of something that doesn't shine through and we don't really see kind of that interest, or there's another sort of underlying interest, I would say, in terms of the working with the Chain Collaborative, then that kind of gets a bit deprioritized. So I would say just kind of think through as fellows kind of your goal in working with communities and learning about community-led development, and that really being the kind of the key to this, I think, what makes this fellowship unique and special. So yeah, I'll just maybe add that, and don't know if there's any final questions on that. But otherwise, we're going to share this recording with you all in case you want to listen to some of the tasks and responsibilities again. And for those who are kind of listening to this recording, if you have additional questions, feel free to reach out. We'll also send you the application so that you have that as well, and it kind of everyone receives it at the same time. And yeah, I think that's it. Is there anything you wanted to add, Camila, before we end the recording?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
I would just encourage you to apply. For me, it was really it changed completely the way I saw coffee, the way I perceived dynamics. It's really it changes the way you think about all things you can do in coffee. Like, my background was not at all in nonprofits or development. I was a coffee quality specialist, and I wanted to learn more about sustainability, and the TCC approach really changed the way I see things. And now I don't think I can think differently. I don't think there is another way of doing things that community led. That's the thing that makes sense now. Yeah.
Oh, I see a question from Brittany. What's the best way to reach out if you have any more questions? I would say just reply to the email that will be sending you the application. It should be coming from Carolina. So to reply to that. And I did, just think of one more question that came up in the previous session, which is about sort of the level of competitiveness of the application. So it has increased over time. And so in the kind of beginning, we maybe the first year received closer to 8 applications. I think last year we had 16, so double that. And of course, as Camila mentioned, we're looking for 3 people, so it is quite competitive. So we don't know, of course, how many people are going to apply this year, but we had a number of people that signed up for the office hours. Of course, not everyone was able to make it. So yeah, just if you have any questions about the application or the best way to apply, whatever it is, I would say the email is carolina@thechaincollaborative.org. but she'll be sending you the follow-up email. So just feel free to reply to that and your question will be directed to the right place. Okay, November 15th. Great. Perfect. Okay, well, we look forward to reading your application. And yeah, as Camila said, we definitely encourage you to apply and hope that you don't feel scared away, but rather more excited about the opportunity and to learn from us as well as the local leaders that we partner with. So thank you so much.
Thank
I appreciate
you.
your
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.